working so much. And listen, you have to take care of this baby financially, but you also will have the legal right to see the child. If you all can't work together.
Now, what I don't understand is how can two people have completely different accounts of every sexual encounter? You say you always use protection, and she says you never did.
What was this about? You all were just having sex for sport or what?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Basically, we
So-
was friends. No, don't even. We was friends. We been best of friends until Cedric really.
Best of friends?
Yes, we have been.
As you all know, paternity court is unique for one particular thing, and that is basically to uncover the lies and deception that happen between couples and families. Ms. Davis was in court to prove that a man she had known for only 2 months was the father of her child. Mr. Ham, on the other hand, claimed she had 2 other boyfriends and was very certain he wasn't the father of her child.
Ms. Davis, you claim you got pregnant with Mr. Ham's child after knowing him for only 2 months. You've petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove that Mr. Ham is the father of your 1-month-old baby, Jarrell Ham Jr. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're suing him for $1,500 for the cost of the baby shower gifts that you say Mr. Ham took from you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Diving straight into the drama between Ms. Davis and Mr. Ham. Mr. Ham was asked to explain why he felt he couldn't be the father of the child. The reply he gave blew the minds of everyone in the courtroom, believe me. He started by giving a little background history of how he met Ms. Davis.
When we switched numbers, we started talking on the phone within those same exact hours. So during that time, we agreed to meet up. When I'm thinking we meeting up, I'm thinking it's just gonna be me and Brandy. When I pull up to the lake after we agreed, that's where we agreed to go to the lake. When I pull up at the lake, she got a whole crowd of people surrounding her car. So as I get closer, Ms. Davis then comes and approaches my car. We start having a conversation. As me and Ms. Davis having a conversation, one of her female friends comes up to the car and say, well,
You honestly couldn't blame Mr. Ham for having the level of doubt he had about the paternity of the child. Trust me, Ms. Davis had 2 boyfriends while she was trying to get intimate with Mr. Ham. That wasn't even the craziest part of the story. Aside from having 2 boyfriends, she was also married.
More than one boyfriend.
yes, Your Honor, and she's married too, and she's still technically, she's not
Yes,
divorced, she's still
true,
technically married,
true,
and she had 2 boyfriends
true.
too. So this is why I'm in a point where, okay, this can't really be my child, due to the fact she had all these boyfriends, and then at the end of the day, I come found she's married too, so I don't know what to believe.
At some point after you're at this lake and you start talking, you have a sexual relation.
Ms. Davis wasn't even denying the fact that Mr. Ham had the right to have doubts about the paternity of her child. I mean, she had 2 different boyfriends. She was married, and on top of all that, she had an unprotected sexual relationship with Mr. Davis. He claimed anytime Ms. Davis got drunk, she wanted to sleep with anyone she met.
So you do understand why Mr. Ham may have doubt?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Okay, good.
I do.
She already had boyfriends before she was even with me, and just like I say, when she get drunk, she's real sexual. When
Yeah,
she
I
get
am.
drunk,
I am.
she
I'm
gets so
nasty.
drunk that
You're right.
can't,
You're right.
She,
You're right. I am.
If she was drunk right now, she would be
I'm
passed
drunk.
out sleeping
What's
in
wrong
front
with
of
that?
TV.
What's wrong with that?
Now Ms. Davis starts showing symptoms of pregnancy, but in her mind, she just thinks she is sick. After finding out she was pregnant, she picked up her phone and tried to inform Mr. Ham about the pregnancy. She claimed he was very excited and wanted her to have the baby. So how did that exciting feeling turn to dust?
I called his phone and told him I was pregnant. He was at work. I went to his job, and man was talking about it. He was
What?
happy, excited. Yes, I did. Went to your job. He was happy, excited.
So you
real
felt like
excited.
his reaction was that of
He was
excitement?
gonna be there. He was gonna help me out and do all this, regardless of the fact that what went on in the past. He was gonna be
And
there.
I gave her my
For me
word.
and my
I
first
gave her
son. I
my
have 2
word.
kids.
And due to the fact of what she was going through, I gave her my word as a man. And due to the
Tough.
fact that
You ain't a man.
the situation with me and my father.
At one period, when they got into a heated argument, back when they were still having a sexual relationship, Ms. Davis outrightly told Mr. Ham that he wasn't the father of her child in front of his mom and aunt. It just kept going from bad to worse with these 2.
She told in front of my mother and auntie that this
No, I
is
didn't.
not my
I
child
never
when the
did that.
child was
That's a
4
lie.
weeks old.
I never
she
did
told
that.
this in front of my mother and
never
auntie.
did that.
And the
Never.
second time
lie.
when we was arguing in front of her,
out of
at
anger.
her mother's
I said
house.
that to you out of anger. Out of anger, yes, Your Honor, I did say that twice.
And
out
then
of
the
anger.
second time
we
in front
argued.
of
He
her
make me
own
mad.
mother.
I'm like, you know,
All right,
that's
one at a
your child.
time. I want to understand this. So you're saying, Mr. Ham, that in front of your family members, she says
I did not
that
say
I was not the father of that
I said
child.
it to him in an argument.
It was a total disaster trying to figure out which of the men Ms. Davis was intimate with at several given periods. Now Judge Lauren was trying to figure out the exact guy she was sleeping with during her window of conception. Was it Mr. Ham or her boyfriend or even the husband she claimed to be divorced from? No one really knew.
And when was that?
I said the
The
beginning
same
of
thing.
July, around July 10th, around that time. That was the last time we had sex.
Ms. Davis, you're saying you were still sleeping with your boyfriend in July.
Yeah, yes, in the beginning.
And then
of
you
July.
started sleeping with Mr. Ham in August or late July.
No,
We been
beginning of
talking.
July.
We
Beginning
been-
of July.
We had sex, the first time we had sex was the second day we met, and we was having sex on and on every day.
Their case was filled with nothing short of lies and deception. There was no going forward, and the judge could sense that. The only way to bring their drama to a close was to reveal the results of the DNA test. Who's it going to be, Mr. Ham? The boyfriend or her husband?
Mr. Ham, you are Jarrell's father.
Like I said, I don't have no problem with stepping up, but at the same time, I can't be in this child's life if she's trying to control me with this child.
It has been determined by this court that you are this child's biological father, which means as a father, you have rights.
But
you
ma'am-
have, listen, stop talking so much and listen. You have to take care of this baby financially, but you also will have the legal right to see the child.
In this case, Ms. Nichols was fed up with Mr. Young's behavior. All she wanted was for him to accept the baby and step up to his responsibilities as a father, because she claimed she had no doubt that he was the biological father to her 13-month-old baby. Mr. Young claimed she had been having funny business with another man outside her relationship and was already pregnant when they began their relationship.
Ms. Nichols, you've dragged the defendant, Mr. Young, to court today because you say he denies he's the father of your 13-month-old daughter, Sine.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say it's time for him to step up and take responsibility.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Young, you say you refuse to accept Sine because you claim that Ms. Nichols was already pregnant when you began your relationship. Refuse to allow her to trap you with another man's baby.
Yes, Your Honor.
I mean, there was only one question Judge Lauren could ask Mr. Young, and that was why he had doubts about not being the father of her child. He started by saying she was trying to pin the baby on him because she was jealous that he moved on with his life and found a new girl who was way better than she was. But Ms. Nichols jumped out and called him a fat-ass liar.
Doesn't like the fact that I moved on and I have a new relationship, and she's all about getting money out of me. She knows that I was treating her good. She's been lying since the first time I met her, just making my life miserable.
Have you been making his life miserable, Ms. Nichols?
No, Your Honor, I have not. He started denying my daughter before his new relationship. He actually started denying her when I moved out of his house because he was cheating.
Really?
I've known Mr. Young for 19 years.
Now, Ms. Nichols was trying to tell the judge how she had known Mr. Young for years, and how when they saw it was almost as if she had met her soulmate. She sounded so convincing, trust me. One would even think she had never met any other man all her life. But Mr. Young was selling a different story. He claimed that Ms. Nichols stalked him throughout his previous relationship, and when she found out he was single, she tried to force her way into his life.
She hit me up on Facebook, talking about because she'd been trying to find me, and she been wanting to see me. And as soon as she came over, she was still on the same thing she was when I first met her, trying to get back in the bed with me like always.
Wow.
So there was no instant connection like she said, Mr. Young?
I mean, no, there was no instant connection like that. I mean,
Your Honor,
I was getting out of a relationship, and then she hit me up like, hey, I want to come over, man. I ain't seen you in a long time.
These two were about to lock their heads in a brawl. Nobody seemed to want to agree with the other person. As the secrets and lies kept finding their way to the floors of the courtroom, Ms. Nichols claimed the first night she moved in with him, Mr. Young told her that he loved her, and that was the reason she never moved out of his house. But Mr. Young was waiting to drop his truth bomb.
He told me he loved me the first night that I was there. That's why I never left.
That's a lie. She didn't have nowhere to go because she was being evicted, and the guy she was staying with at the time was a sugar daddy.
I was not. No, he was not my sugar daddy, and I was not being evicted. I could not afford that apartment by myself.
It was starting to feel like a competition between Mr. Young and Ms. Nichols. And when I say competition, I mean who could tell the best lies, because these two sure knew how to do just that. Now, Mr. Young wasn't particularly a saint in the situation. What he left out of his story was that he was also getting some sugar from the sugar daddy. Whatever money or favors the sugar daddy was doing for Ms. Nichols, he sure was having his share in the shadows.
No, anything I called and asked this man for, he would come. If I needed a ride to work, because he couldn't take me. He couldn't provide me with no bus money or anything.
Hold on, so you got a little sugar from the sugar daddy too. Mr. Young, do you believe this sugar daddy is Sinead's father? Is that what you're asserting today in court?
She's the same color as him, and she looks like him.
Mr. Young was hell-bent on proving to everyone in the courtroom that she had been messing with several men. Mr. Young wasn't just saying she had been sleeping with the sugar daddy. There was a whole new accusation coming into the mix, and this time, he said she had another man whom she was having a sexual relationship with.
And what about the other guy? Were you sleeping with him too?
No, I had broke up with that man 2 years before he came along.
She said she broke up in a relationship. Don't you mess around with people?
But I was
with
broke up with him before I started messing with you, Sean.
She was sleeping
He was
with
in
him.
jail. The man was in jail. mail.
Yeah, okay.
I have not heard from this man.
Well, I heard from him constantly on Facebook telling me not to believe nothing you say, because you always sleeping around and you ain't never gonna stop messing with the sugar daddy. He himself told me that.
Let's jump right to the moment Ms. Nichols finds out she is pregnant. Well, there's a bit of a little twist as to how she found out she was pregnant. One cozy evening, when she and Mr. Young were all cuddled up in bed, Mr. Young noticed something different about how Mr. Nichols was looking. He did the maths, and boom, he told her she was pregnant.
He told me I was pregnant.
Really?
We were just sitting around and he just kept looking at me and I'm like, well, you know, what are you looking at? He was like, well, you're pregnant. I'm like, yeah, right. You know, I didn't believe I was pregnant. A couple days later, I went to the doctor and I was pregnant.
Did you believe it was your child then, Mr. Young?
At first I did, but then when I started looking at the dates when the baby was born, the dates don't add up. The baby was due in August. She had her at the end of May, so how can that be my baby?
Well, the suspense is finally over, and the hassle of who the dad of their child is about to be revealed. It's been a bumpy and funny ride with Mr. Young and Ms. Nichols. All eyes are on the judge as she unleashes the truth.
Mr. Young, you are her father.
Surprise, surprise.
And I see tears in your eyes because what do you feel in this moment?
Because, like, his dad wasn't in his life. So he should know that how I would feel, how his mom felt. Break the cycle.
Now we know this is your biological daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
You can't keep going on the way you going. This little girl is gonna grow up.
Just like the previous case, the man in this situation was claiming that the mother of a set of twins was trying to trap him with her kids. Ms. Mayo was in the courtroom to prove that Mr. Brown happens to be the father of her fraternal twins. Mr. Brown on the other side of the courtroom wasn't going to be the father of kids he claimed belonged to another man.
Ms. Mayo, you're here today because you filed a paternity suit against Mr. Brown, who you claim is your 2-month-old fraternal twins, Chloe and Carter's biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You say when today's results prove your case, you want him to pay you $1,000 for half of the child-rearing expenses.
Yes, Your Honor.
Aside from suing Mr. Brown to prove that he was the father of her kids, she was also suing him for a sum of $1,500, which she claimed she had spent taking care of her twins. She was very upset that she had been the only one taking care of the kids, and Mr. Brown refused to help, knowing fully well that he was the father of her kids.
Everything they got from before I even had them, I have bought. Mr. Brown have bought not one thing that you can think of. Everything came out of my pocket, or my mom, or my dad.
Not one thing?
Not one thing. Nothing at all.
Mr. Brown, is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why is that?
Because I don't believe they my children.
I don't know why you feel like that, and you know they're yours, bro. I don't know why you feel like that, and you already know.
And now, the argument begins with Mr. Brown and Ms. Mayo yelling at the top of their voices. Ms. Mayo, still very upset, started to talk about how she wished she never met Mr. Brown and also wished she never got pregnant for him. I honestly wonder how they found themselves in such a messy situation.
Why was you messing with me?
Cause at first we was friends. Why you putting on a show? Before any of this happened, we was friends. We was cordial. Like, I was doing stuff for you, you was doing stuff for me and my kids. One go right.
Right.
Say if it was Monday. If I didn't see him Monday, I knew for a fact I was gonna see him Tuesday.
Right.
From the first night when we had sex, we didn't use a condom.
So
Every day we had sex, we never used a condom.
So if she seen me Monday and she ain't see me Tuesday, that's a whole gap.
For them, it was all about having a good time without having any feelings attached. But Ms. Mayo didn't just settle for the fact that it was just a sexual relationship. She said they had been best friends for a really long time, and she didn't know why Mr. Brown was doing her dirty.
No, Donnie, we was friends. We been best of friends until Cedric really.
Best of friends?
Yes, we have been. Before all this happened, we was friends.
Man,
so
we
you
was
wasn't
friends.
helping me take care of my kids. The kids
Yeah.
we weren't friends.
was
Making
doing
sure
all-
I
I
got
was
to
doing
work.
all that,
Making
but-
sure this.
Wait a minute,
Come on now.
he was helping you take care of your other kids?
Yes, making sure I got to work. Make sure I had gas in my truck. Make
that's
sure
a-
I had.
That sounds like you were a
Make sure
couple
I
to
had
me.
everything.
The situation kept going from bad to worse in the courtroom, with both of them refusing to agree with one another. Mr. Brown even referred to it as a situationship, not a relationship. Moving on, Ms. Mayo finds out she's pregnant with his child and tries to reach out to him. What he does next would leave you speechless, trust me.
He left. He blocked me on
Okay,
everything.
okay.
Blocked me on Facebook. Blocked
Okay.
me on Instagram.
Okay,
removed
look,
everything.
can we take
Just
it
started
back?
talking to me.
I'm saying, can we
Just started
take-
to block
can
my
we-
mama. I wrote his mama
You
on.
blocked her
Yes.
mama too, Mr.
Yes.
Brown?
I
All
wrote his
that.
mama on
All
Facebook.
that.
He wrote back talking
All
about don't
that.
inbox my mama. But if I feel like your mama should have stepped up and said something.
I want to go back to the moment you told him.
Now the lies started to pop out and some secrets needed to be exposed. Mr. Brown already told her before they began their sexual adventures that he wanted no kids at all. He even said she presented him with so many documents that she claimed were from her doctors, indicating that it was impossible for her to get pregnant again.
That she would never have children again. So when she presented me with all this, I feel like I'm in a safety net. I got a safety zone. Like, okay, she can't have children.
Oh.
Right.
So she comes in with all this paperwork. Telling you, I can't have any children.
How she almost died, having her last child, and he was never supposed to be here.
For Mr. Brown, there were so many reasons for his doubts, and his mind wasn't going to be changed by anything the judge said in that courtroom. He also claimed that the kids didn't look like him at all. He wasn't just saying that, trust me. He actually proceeded to prove that they didn't look like him.
When I first met her, she had sex with me on the first night, so how I'm supposed to view that? Come on.
So what is your doubt, exactly?
They don't look like me, for one. I got very distinct features.
So come on, everybody in America knows that when newborns are born, they don't look like no one.
Can I go to?
They don't even look like me.
Can I go to the easel?
Oh, you have an exhibit?
Yes. Can
Please
I go to the
step
easel and
over.
show you?
Yes, I'd like to see it.
Well, it's finally time to unveil the truth after so many lies and deceptions. The day of reckoning is finally here, with everyone itching to know the truth. Are you ready to find out? I bet you are. So take a deep breath, because here it comes.
Mr. Brown, you are the father.
What you gonna do now?
Man, you know I'm gonna take care of my children, man. Come on, man.
We'll see.
Well, let me say this before we adjourn. Mr. Brown, these are your biologicals.
Yeah, I know that now.
All right, so you know that now for certain.
Yeah.
Because of that, you are required by law.
This revelation was one that Ms. Jones wasn't expecting to uncover in that courtroom. She discovers that there is a possibility that she could have another man as a father. The revelation shook the walls of Ms. Jones's heart and left her with so much confusion. Mr. Jones, on the other hand, believes that there is no chance on earth that he could be her biological father.
All right, so Ms. Jones, I need to start at the beginning. So what was it like growing up around Mr. Jones and his family?
Your Honor, I felt unwanted and lonely and invisible.
Wow. Take me there. What was it like for you as a little girl?
He was in and out my life, barely saw him.
The words she used to describe her life while growing up were unwanted, neglected, and invisible. She couldn't even remember spending any quality time with Mr. Jones, which then begs the question, was he really her father?
But you barely saw him?
Yes.
Was in and out your life?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you remember quality time you spent with him?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Jones, Ms. Jones is saying she grew up with you in and out of her life. Were you involved at all?
Yeah, Mr. Jones was, on several occasions, he had very insistent on the fact that she knew he was the father. He even said her mom was the one who didn't want to get the DNA test done to determine who the real father was.
Have a test done when she was little.
Yeah, but my mom told me that you said you didn't have the money for it.
No, that's not true. At first I didn't, but I went to the hospital and I got there. And Terry knows that Ms. Brittingham knew that when we got to the hospital, I was there to get this test done then.
And what happened?
I was standing up, I got there, there was a gentleman ahead of me. Then when he moved, I stepped up and I turned around and looked.
The conversation about the use of protection while in a sexual relationship comes up, and Mr. Jones and Ms. Jones's mother get into a brawl. There was no going forward with these two because they just couldn't agree on anything.
My mom told me you didn't use protection at all.
That's not true. I did. And
when did you use protection? I'm sorry, Your Honor. But when did you use protection? I don't remember you using
Yes, I did,
protection.
Terry, and you knew I did.
No, I didn't either.
Your Honor, I used protection.
Now, what I don't understand is how can two people have completely different accounts of every sexual encounter?
The stories were starting to sound very confusing in the courtroom. Mr. Jones had apparently been paying for child support all these years. His name was even written and signed on Ms. Jones's birth certificate. I mean, it couldn't have been forged, or could it?
If this was the case, if I'm to be her father, which I paid for her for all the many years.
So you've been paying child support all these years?
Yes, I have, Your Honor.
Are
Yes,
you on
I
the
have.
birth certificate?
Yes, Your Honor, he is on the birth certificate. I have a copy right here if you'd like to see that.
Jerome, please hand me that evidence. So take me back a little bit, Ms. Brittingham. So you were still in a relationship with Mr. Jones?
Yes.
No, Your Honor, that's not correct.
The genesis of this paternity crisis was that Mr. Jones felt Ms. Jones's mother was not honest with him when she gave birth to the child. He claimed that when she was asked who the father of the child was, she initially hesitated and then went on to call his name. Has Ms. Jones's mother been seeing other men?
Well, what happened is, then all of a sudden she hesitated, and then she said Jerome Jones.
What you felt like all these years was that she wasn't completely honest during that time.
Exactly.
And you've paid support all these years.
Yes, I have.
You have evidence that
Yes,
you brought?
I do. It's right here, Your Honor.
Jerome, please hand me the evidence.
And it's 2 years on here. It's 2 years missing. That's not there.
This is where things start to get out of hand. Mr. Jones presented his evidence, showing how involved he had been in Ms. Jones's life. Mr. Jones had paid over $50,000 in child support. Now, that's a lot of money going into child support for a child you claim not to be yours. Wouldn't you say?
Didn't go back that far because my company that was sold.
You're saying you've paid close to $50,000 in child support
Pretty close.
for a child that you 100% believe is not yours.
Absolutely. I'm sorry she has to go through this today because I still love her just like she is my child.
No.
And as
So
far as her,
wait.
and
I
as
don't
far as her
really
not,
feel like that.
and as far as,
I don't
as
feel
far
like
as her
that at
not
all.
coming to my house, that was her choice. That wasn't my choice.
Mr. Jones's story started to have some serious twists and turns. Ms. Jones was tired of hearing him speak, so she decided to open up once again. Mr. Jones didn't tell anyone she was his daughter. Whenever they went to gatherings, people would often ask who Ms. Jones was because Mr. Jones never mentioned he had a daughter.
I didn't, who's this? And you said, it's my daughter. I was like, oh, I didn't know you had a daughter.
You told me that?
No, you said that to them.
No, that's not true.
No, what was said was, they would say they didn't know he had a daughter.
Yeah.
And you would say that this was your daughter, and they said, oh, I didn't know you had a daughter.
Why would I say that?
Ms. Brittingham, I need to ask you, I mean, because he's paid the support, I got documentation.
Well, it's finally time to unveil the truth after so many lies and deceptions. The day of reckoning is finally here, with everyone itching to know the truth. Are you ready to find out? I bet you are. So take a deep breath, because here it comes.
Mr. Jones, you are not Lakeisha's father.
So now you know. That's all right, because you'll always be my baby.
Ms. Jones, please sit down. I know that's not the news you wanted. Are you okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
We say in this courtroom all the time, it takes DNA to be a father, but it takes love to be a daddy.
All right, folks, let's dive right in. Today we have Mr. Adel accusing Ms. Jones of committing paternity fraud. He claims that she tricked him into signing their daughter's birth certificate, only to find out later that she cheated on him before getting pregnant. Woo, talk about a messy situation.
Mr. Adel, you are here today to prove Ms. Jones committed paternity fraud. You claim Ms. Jones duped you into signing her daughter's birth certificate, only to find out after her child was born that she cheated prior to getting pregnant. You say she broke the terms of your relationship. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So here's the deal. Mr. Adel and Ms. Jones were in a swinging relationship. Yep, you heard that right, folks. They were swingers. Now, for those of you who don't know what swinging is, it's when couples agree to have sexual relations with other people outside of their relationship. But there's a catch. They have to do it together, like a tag team. It's a wild world out there.
You admit to cheating, but say you are 100% positive Mr. Adel is the biological father of your 2-month-old daughter, Jessela.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Adel, what do you mean she broke the terms of the relationship?
Your Honor, we have certain rules. We're swingers, you know, and and she went outside of the relationship. She cheated on me.
Apparently, Mr. Adel and Ms. Jones had some rules in place for their swinging adventures. No going outside the relationship unless the other person is present, and always use protection. Seems like a fair deal, right? Well, buckle up because things are about to get way more complicated.
Cheated too, though. I did out of spite.
You did it out of spite. You feel like he cheated.
Your Honor, she swears to God I cheated, and I don't cheat.
Oh, there was a picture in my bed with someone else.
A picture of Mr. Adel in the bed with somebody else? Your bed?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's why you cheated, because you saw that picture, so then you went out and did it.
Absolutely.
So our swinging couple decided to spice things up by inviting another man into their bedroom. They put an ad online looking for a third wheel to join them. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Ms. Jones wasn't too thrilled about the idea of another woman joining the party, so they settled for a man. But guess what? She wasn't really into it. Poor Mr. Adel. He thought he was doing something nice for his lady, only to realize that she wasn't feeling the vibe.
I really don't, but I don't know if I want to know. Who finds the people? How does that start?
Well, the way we did it was we put an ad out online.
An ad online?
Yes.
What would an ad like this say?
Couples,
Go ahead, you know what it says. You know you wrote it.
Fast forward a bit, and Mr. Adel finds out that Ms. Jones cheated on him with one of his friends. That's gotta hurt. But get this, she only confessed to it a month ago. Can you imagine carrying that secret for so long? The tension in that relationship must have been off the charts.
Compromise, you know, and it's not a big deal to me. It's all the same. Sex is sex, and it's all exciting, you know? So, I mean, it was...
I'm not quite there yet on that testimony, but I'm gonna keep listing. So, Ms. Jones, you agreed to have another man come into your bedroom.
Honestly, I was hoping that he would stop it before it got that far, that he wouldn't really want another man to have intercourse with me.
So, now we have a baby in the mix. Ms. Jones claims that Mr. Adel is the biological father of their 2-month-old daughter, Jessela. But Mr. Adel has his doubts. He's convinced that the baby might not be his because of Ms. Jones's infidelity. Talk about a paternity bombshell.
Night that happened, you know, we invited the gentleman over. We had some drinks to loosen up, you you know, more for her case because she had no.
So how does this work? They just ring the doorbell and they're like, "Hi, I'm the swinger."
We had some drinks. She had told me that she was comfortable.
All right, folks, it's time to get down to the nitty-gritty. Mr. Adel wants answers, and he's come to paternity court to get them. Will he find out if he's the father, or will this case take an unexpected turn? Let's find out.
Mr. Adel, you are the father. I told you. Makes you emotional.
Yes, it does. Very emotional.
And why is that?
Because I built a relationship with the child, and I'd like to continue.
So, today we're diving into the case of Brooks versus Gooley. Mr. Brooks is here to prove that he is the father of Miss Gooley's 18-year-old son, Mr. McDonald. But Miss Gooley, well, she's got a bombshell of her own. She admits to cheating on Mr. Brooks and believes that he may not be the biological father. Hold on to your seats, folks, because this one's about to get wild.
Mr. Brooks, you summoned your ex-girlfriend, Miss Gooley, to paternity court to prove that you are the father of her 18-year-old son, Mr. McDonald.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Gooley, you admit you cheated on Mr. Brooks all those years ago and are here today to prove to Mr. Brooks that he is not the father of your son.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of this relationship. Mr. Brooks and Miss Gooley were together for a whopping 10 years. But hold up, folks, it wasn't exactly a committed relationship. Nope, it was more like a we're together, but we're not faithful kind of deal. This is starting to sound like a recipe for disaster.
Both of you are desperate for these answers because you've recently been reunited with Mr. McDonald, whom you lost custody of at the tender age of 1. Mr. Brooks, why do you believe Mr. McDonald is your son?
The day he was born, I took her to the hospital. I drove her to the hospital. I was there. I watched him cut her open. I watched him pull my baby out.
Miss Gooley? Oh, Miss Gooley. Did you ever tell Mr. Brooks during the pregnancy that he might not be the father? Nope, she kept him in the dark, folks. She let him believe that he was the biological father the entire time. Now, that's a secret that's about to blow up in her face.
The entire pregnancy?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
Why is that?
Because he wants to be there for my child, but he knew that there was another man that was at my house all the time.
That's a lie.
And he used to take Fred to work.
How you gonna take me when I had my own damn car?
Mr. Brooks, I need you to watch your language.
I'm sorry.
So wait a minute. There was another man that was always at your house.
And here's where things get even juicier, folks. Miss Gooley had another man in her life while she was with Mr. Brooks. Mr. Brooks believes that this other man could potentially be Mr. McDonald's biological father. Can you imagine the tension between these two men?
Having these pictures with me for 17 years. She don't have none. Matter of fact, I got about 60 pictures, and she's not in none of them.
These are pictures you've carried for 17 years,
yes,
believing that you are Mr. McDonald's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Gooley claims that this other man was just a friend, but come on now, we all know what that means. Mr. Brooks ain't buying it, and he's convinced that this other man is the real deal. Oh, the suspense is killing me. Who will be revealed as the true father? Will it be Mr. Brooks or this mysterious other man? I can't wait to find out.
So let me be clear. You submitted to the court. At this time, you were both battling and having significant challenges with drugs.
No. Her? No. Tell me what you do.
It don't matter. I don't do it now.
Yeah.
Ultimately, yes, from your home.
No.
The reason why my
Well, Mr. Brooks, something had to be going on because if, in fact, Miss Gooley was struggling at that time with drugs and the children could not be with her.
Fast forward to the day that Mr. McDonald was taken away from Mr. Brooks. Oh, the heartbreak. Mr. Brooks vividly remembers that day, folks. The police showed up, DFCS was involved, and chaos ensued. Miss Gooley claims that Mr. Brooks called DFCS on her, but he denies it. This case is getting messier by the minute.
You looked at him and said, "Is he yours?"
Yes, I did.
You said that because what? You wanted him to look at the baby and see if he thought it looked like him?
Yes, Your Honor. This ain't the first time he's went through something. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. I give you that.
I take care of all mine.
You an excellent man. But he claims my daughter, that's not his child. He claims someone else's daughter, that's not his child.
Miss Gooley let Mr. Brooks believe that he was the father for all those years. Apparently, she wanted him to be there for her child, but she also knew there was another man in the picture. Talk about playing with fire. This is one tangled web we're dealing with here.
And on Facebook, saying that he was my biological father, and I text back and said, okay, I really don't know what to say or what to do because there's another man in my life that thinks he's my father.
Mr. Brooks, bless his heart, had been carrying around pictures of Mr. McDonald for a whopping 17 years. He believed with all his heart that he was the father. But wait, folks, there's a twist. Miss Gooley is nowhere to be found in any of those pictures. Not a single one.
I didn't want to hear it. I don't see no other man being his father but me. That's it. That's all I got to say about it. That's mine.
Miss Gooley, as you stand here in court, are you still convinced that this other gentleman and not Mr. Brooks is Mr. McDonald, your son's biological father?
I don't see how he can be.
You don't see how Mr. Brooks can be?
No, ma'am.
And just when you thought things couldn't get any crazier, Miss Gooley drops a bombshell. She claims that Mr. Brooks can't even father a child. But Mr. Brooks ain't backing down, folks. He knows in his heart that he's the father, and he's ready to prove it.
Say Mr. Brooks said this, he said this. You admitted in court. Let's just keep it real. You admitted that you told him that he was the father and strung him along
I did, because
for quite a long time before you admitted that he may not be the biological father.
But he's saying I admitted it last year. That's a lie. That's a lie. I admitted it.
Fast forward to the present day, and Mr. McDonald has been reunited with his parents. The emotions are running high, folks. There's tension, excitement, and a whole lot of uncertainty. Will Mr. Brooks finally get the confirmation he's been waiting for? Will Miss Gooley's secret come back to haunt her? It's time for the truth.
Mr. Brooks, you are his father.
All right!
How's it feel?
Great.
Look at my boy. This is my boy.
Feels good, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You feel real good.
All right, folks, let's dive into the case of Rayford vs. Freeman. This love triangle has all the ingredients for a juicy story. We've got Ms. Rayford, Mr. Freeman, and his fiancée, Ms. Triplett. It's a tangled web of relationships. Let's see how this plays out.
Ms. Rayford, you say Mr. Freeman's inability to be honest has landed you smack in the middle of a love triangle that produced your 8-month-old son, Terry, whom he now denies. You say that after begging you to have his child, Mr. Freeman abruptly left your relationship, returned to his fiancée, and started denying your baby. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Ms. Rayford is accusing Mr. Freeman of denying their 8-month-old son, Terry. She claims that after begging her to have his child, Mr. Freeman abruptly left their relationship and returned to his fiancée. Ouch! Now, he's denying the baby, but hold on, because it's about to get even messier.
More than a fling who is now obsessed with you and your fiancée, Ms. Triplett. You claim that during your brief time with Ms. Rayford, she was sleeping with multiple men, and there is no way you are her son's father. Is that correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Mr. Freeman, on the other hand, is claiming that Ms. Rayford was nothing more than a fling and is now obsessed with him and his fiancée, Ms. Triplett. He even goes as far as saying that she was sleeping with multiple men during their brief time together.
You like to clown? Your son will love it. He loves to laugh and play. Play with him and not me. He knows he's a father. It's not an issue of paternity. It's an issue of him being responsible.
Ms. Triplett, give me a minute. Miss Rayford, just look at me.
Offense.
Listen. I know why you're upset.
Lord have mercy.
And I'm letting you kind of scream it out because I can see how frustrated you are.
I am. I really am.
All right, let's hear from Ms. Rayford. She's had enough of Mr. Freeman's denial and is ready to set the record straight. She's confident that Terry is Mr. Freeman's son and wants him to step up and be a responsible father.
Terry, and you told him you don't need his stuff.
Are you referring to when you brought that dresser thing?
Nah, he referring to the stuff that he bought with Pampers, clothes, and stuff like that. Girl, stop playing.
So you know every move that man make, huh?
Nope, I thought he made a wrong move when he went over there with you.
Hold on.
Oh, you jealous. You wish that was your son, huh?
How can I be
you
jealous?
wish that was your son, huh? You
Miss
remember them tears you cried?
Rayford.
And how can I be jealous?
Miss Rayford, focus on me.
But wait, here comes Ms. Triplett, Mr. Freeman's fiancée, with some choice words for Ms. Rayford. Things are heating up real quick. Ladies, let's bring it down a notch. We're here to find the truth, not to start a fight.
Mr. Freeman, why are you here?
I'm here today to prove that I'm not Trina's baby daddy. Me and Trina was together. It was only just a fling. Trina was still having sex with multiple guys. She's obsessed with me.
He believes you were still having sex with other people. Is that true?
No, it's not true. We met in December. We met on a dating site.
Okay, let's get back on track. Ms. Rayford, tell us what Mr. Freeman has done for Terry. Oh wait, he hasn't done anything? Deadbeat alert. Mr. Freeman, you better have a good explanation for this.
Send you home and
Yes,
you can
ma'am.
deal with it and get you some medicine.
Okay, I might need that.
Okay, we can.
Yes.
I've asked you at least 2 times now. Just stop being ignorant, huh? Just stop.
Mr. Freeman claims that he's not Terry's father and that Ms. Rayford was still sleeping with other men during their time together. Sounds like he's trying to shift the blame. But hey, we're not here to judge, just to uncover the truth.
Rayford, so you all decided in February, y'all said, oh, now we're gonna be in a committed relationship.
Yeah.
How do we end up here?
Okay, I had to go to California to take care of some business. And so we were living together at the time. So he didn't have money for a plane ticket, and because we were expecting a child, it was not responsible to buy him a plane ticket where where he didn't need to go, where he had a job.
All right, let's hear Ms. Rayford's side of the story. She met Mr. Freeman on a dating site in December, and they hit it off, but things got complicated when she met another guy around the same time. Oh, the classic love triangle.
So now, Miss Rayford, when you went to California, you were already pregnant.
I never saw proof that she was pregnant.
She never told you she was pregnant?
Never told me.
Now, Miss Triplett, do you remember hearing anything about Miss Rayford being pregnant at the end of February?
I had heard of it, but he never pertained to me that she showed any proof.
How did you hear it?
From Terry and her telling Terry.
Ms. Rayford moved in with Mr. Freeman in February, and they were planning a future together. But then she had to go to California for some business, leaving Mr. Freeman behind, and that's when things started to go downhill. Distance really did make the heart grow fonder of someone else.
So now we see what's going on.
So you saying your man is a liar?
Hold on.
No.
Mr. Freeman, you were going back and forth between these two women all this time. No wonder you so quiet. But now we know you all both got everything to do with it.
While I was gone to California, he was back fraternizing with her, gambling, hoarding, being irresponsible.
Hold on tight, folks, because here comes the bombshell. Mr. Freeman admits that he was still with Ms. Triplett during the same time he was involved with Ms. Rayford. Talk about playing both sides. This love triangle just got even messier. Who will come out on top?
Because by the end of it, I was pregnant. I was finding out I was pregnant. We was caught up. It was good. I ain't gonna lie. It's good. 2 minutes at a time is good. That's why I'm here. I messed up. God forgive me. This is my punishment, and I take that. But I learned my lesson. I'm on birth control, and I'm going to get baptized because this is just too far over.
Ms. Rayford has a calendar that shows a very interesting timeline. It seems that Terry's conception falls right in the window when she and Mr. Freeman were extremely active. If you catch my drift, those special dates like birthdays and Valentine's Day really do leave a mark.
You know what? Lean on the Lord. That's all I can say.
Man.
Yes, Lord. So let's go to the next page. Let's go to the next page of your calendar.
Okay, so the conception window. Okay, the baby was born November 7th, and I have some more proof of the conception window.
Mr. Freeman, however, is still denying everything. He claims that he always used protection, but come on, who are you trying to fool? The evidence is stacking up against you, my friend. It's time to face the music.
Sexually active because it was your birthday, his birthday, and Valentine's Day fell all in the same.
Yeah, that's why I say it's not an issue of paternity because he may lie, he lied, she lied, but that ain't lying. That ain't lying. The DNA test ain't lying. Everything matches up to what I'm saying. I don't have no reason to lie on this man.
Listen.
All right, it's time for the moment of truth. Judge Lake has the DNA results in hand, and everyone is on the edge of their seats. Will Mr. Freeman be proven wrong, or will Ms. Rayford finally get the validation she's been seeking? Let's find out.
Mr. Freeman.
Yes.
You
are not. Keep hope alive, but you wrong today.
You are the father.
That's why you had problems for me, because something wrong with her, and I'm not subjecting my child to that.
Listen, you're his father, just like Miss Rayford said you were.
And you just lie. You do this to me.
Meet Miss Collins, who met Mr. Stone on a dating site and thought he was kind of handsome. They met up and hit it off soon afterwards, but things took a turn for the worse when she revealed she was pregnant.
Collins, you have dragged the defendant to court to prove he is the biological father of your 4-year-old daughter, Samara. You say one day of bliss became a lifetime of hell when Mr. Stone up and disappeared when you revealed to him you were pregnant. Is this correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And here's Mr. Stone, who claims that Miss Collins never explicitly told him he could be the father. So the details are Miss Collins and Mr. Stone had a few rendezvous, and one thing led to another. They had unprotected sex, and bam, baby Samara was on her way.
Mr. Stone, you claim the plaintiff waited 2.5 years to tell you that you are Samara's dad, and you are just one of many men who could be the father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Collins tells the court that she did inform Mr. Stone about the pregnancy and the possibility that he could be the father. But Mr. Stone seems to have a different recollection of events.
With the flow.
Mr. Stone, is this true?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. That's how we make babies. So when you met Miss Collins, did you feel like this was gonna turn into a relationship?
she wasn't the only person I was with. I wasn't the only person she was with. You know, just.
Was this the only night you all were intimate?
There were other
I think there was another night.
There was another night.
Mr. Stone claims that Miss Collins never explicitly told him he could be the father. He thought it was just a casual fling, and he was not the only one she was seeing. These two are weaving one hell of a tangled web.
I pick up the phone, it's her, you know, we're talking. She's like, yeah, so I just want to let you know, I am pregnant. I said, okay, and she said, well, I'll just let you know, I'm pregnant. I kind of asked her to come hang out. I kind of hinted I wanted her to, come hang out, but she said she was pregnant, and basically she couldn't hang out. So she never said, oh, this is your child. She never said that.
The plot thickens, my friends. Miss Collins goes on to reveal that there were 2 other men who could potentially be Samara's father. According to her, she had just broken up with her ex when she found out she was pregnant. She informed both men about the pregnancy, and that's where things got a little complicated.
I said, hey, I'm pregnant. He said, well, is it mine? And I said, there's a possibility that it might be yours. He didn't deny it. He didn't say, no, that ain't my baby. He didn't do none of that. So after that, he just said, well, you know what, just keep in touch. And I said, okay, and you keep in touch as well. Make a long story short, he moves to Arizona. And I said, okay, well, keep in touch with me.
Now, fast forward 2.5 years, and Mr. Stone resurfaces. Miss Collins is convinced he is the father, but Mr. Stone isn't so sure. Mr. Stone presents some evidence to the court, claiming that Miss Collins has been avoiding paternity tests and making excuses. Is he onto something, or is he just trying to avoid responsibility?
She would have said to me, and you're the father.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
At what point then does it become clear that to you that you're a possibility?
It was like 2.5 years later. She hasn't been crazy, like throw a brick through my window crazy, but it's like, you can't call me and be like, hey, baby dad. What? What? That's the first thing you say is, hey, baby dad? Like, that's kind of like, it's kind of awkward. You know what I mean?
The tension is palpable in the courtroom as Miss Collins passionately defends herself, insisting that Mr. Stone is indeed the father. But will the paternity test bring us the truth we've been waiting for?
She looked like my ex. They favored. They really did. So after so long, speculations came up. We got a test done. Come to find out she wasn't his. I said, yeah, I think I probably made a misjudged character on the situation. 2015, I found out that he was back living in the state.
And now, folks, it's time for the moment of truth. The paternity test results are in, and we're about to find out if Mr. Stone is the father of little Samara. Judge Lake, the floor is yours.
Mr. Stone, you are the father. What? You are her father.
How you feel now?
Yeah, it kind of threw me for a loop. I didn't expect that one.
You truly believed you were not her biological father?
Yes, Your Honor. I truly believe that. But on the bright side, I'm not upset. I'm a little surprised.
Meet our plaintiff, Ms. Marsack, who admits to sleeping with not 1, but 2 men around the time she conceived her 11-month-old son, Caden. We've got a love triangle. Ms. Marsack is here today because she desperately needs to identify Caden's biological father. She's looking for some clarity in this messy situation.
1. Ms. Marsack, you admit to sleeping with 2 men at the time you conceived your 11-month-old son, Caden.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, you state you're here today for the sake of your baby's future and desperately need to identify his biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. O'Malley claims Ms. Marsack was unfaithful during their relationship, giving him every reason to doubt his paternity. And last but not least, we have Mr. Mestapy, who had a one-night stand with Ms. Marsack and believes that he could be Caden's father.
Your time together, so you have every reason to doubt paternity.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Mestapy, you were a one-night stand, admittedly, but claim you have created a loving bond with Caden, and you would be devastated if he's not yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Marsack, please tell us, how did you get yourself in this situation?
Well, Your Honor, at the time of conception.
Ms. Marsack spills the beans on her complicated relationships with both Mr. O'Malley and Mr. Mestapy. Apparently, she met Mr. O'Malley while working together, and sparks flew. But wait, there's more. She was married at the time, and Mr. O'Malley became the reason for her divorce.
He is actually the reason me and my ex-husband are divorced.
So, at some point, you were sleeping with Mr. Mestapy as well?
Right after me and Mr. O'Malley were together, I had met Mr. Mestapy at a party, and we were drinking, and one thing led to another, and we ended up intimate. And
Mr. O'Malley confirms their affair and admits to reconnecting with Ms. Marsack on Facebook years later. Things got so intense that she even moved in with him. But guess what? It didn't work out, and she went back to Illinois. Can't say we didn't see that coming.
I had sent her back to where she's from. 3 weeks later, she Facebooks me telling me that she's pregnant. So I asked for proof because she had lied to me numerous times before, and her word isn't really trustworthy, at least for me. So about a week later, she sends me a letter. It looked homemade, Your Honor. I really wish I still had the picture of it. So I presumed it wasn't true.
Now it's Mr. Mestapy's turn to share his side of the story. He claims that Ms. Marsack reached out to him on Facebook, dropping the bombshell that she might be pregnant with his child.
Do you remember if you used protection?
No, I did not use protection.
Okay, so it is a real possibility that you could be this child's father.
Yes. I was constantly thinking it could be someone else's, but I wasn't too for sure because I didn't know her that well. It was just a one-night stand. It only takes one time, but...
That's right. That's right.
All right, folks. This is where things get really interesting. Ms. Marsack decides to move in with Mr. O'Malley, hoping to find some stability for her and baby Caden. But guess what? It only lasts for 2 months.
It wasn't that I could possibly be the father. It was that I could be the father.
I get that. And because there was a possibility that you could, you did what you should do.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you were there.
Ms. Marsack reveals that she left Mr. O'Malley's home and moved back to Illinois to be with her other children. But here's the kicker. She still believes that Mr. O'Malley is Caden's father. The drama just keeps on coming.
Ms. Marsack, when you look at your son, who do you really think the father is?
Mr. O'Malley.
I don't see it, Your Honor. I really don't. The little guy has blue eyes, I have brown eyes. Light hair, I have dark hair. I honestly don't think he's mine.
Mr. O'Malley, on the other hand, seems skeptical. He doesn't see the resemblance between himself and baby Caden, and he even questions Ms. Marsack's motives. Can you blame him? This couple has some pretty wild trust issues.
She allowed Mr. Mestapy to believe that he was the father.
So, Mr. Mestapy, did you believe you were the father or just thought you were a possibility?
I just thought I was a possibility.
Okay, so he thought he was a possibility.
I was under the impression that he had thought that he was the actual father.
But hold on, folks. Mr. Mestapy steps up and claims that he has been there for Caden since day one. We've got 3 potential fathers, 1 adorable baby, and a whole lot of unanswered questions. Who will be the lucky winner of the paternity lottery? We're about to find out.
Stop you. How many packages of diapers have you bought?
You were only there for 2 months and we bought 2 months supply, so 2 boxes.
You bought 2 boxes of diapers.
You were only there for 2 months.
It doesn't matter.
You were only there for 2 months. What'd you want me to do?
You want to sit there and say and raise him as your own, and when I leave, you don't decide to send money to him?
And when you left, you cheated on me when you went right back to Illinois.
All right, folks, it's time for the moment we've all been waiting for. The DNA results are in, and Judge Lake is about to reveal the true identity of baby Caden's father. Will it be Mr. O'Malley, Mr. Mestapy, or someone completely unexpected?
Marsack v. O'Malley, Mestapy, pertaining to whether Mr. O'Malley or Mr. Mestapy is the father of 11-month-old Caden Marsack. It has been determined by this court that the biological father is Mr. O'Malley.
Big relief, Your Honor. Big relief. Finally got the truth.
I can feel that across the room.
What do you want to do?
Mr. Mason has been on paternity court before, and in that appearance, he proved that the defendant's 1-year-old daughter was not his child. He is here again questioning the paternity of the same defendant's 5-year-old son, Ace. Ms. Malone is certain that Ace is Mr. Mason's child and plans to prove it today.
Mr. Mason, tell me why you are here for the second time again in court.
I'm here for the second time, Your Honor, because I feel like still that Ace is not my child. I feel like that it's impossible to get a DNA for a child that's unborn just from a swab of the mother.
Ms. Malone had previously given Mr. Mason a prenatal DNA test that proved that Ace belonged to him. However, Mr. Mason thinks that pure witchery and it's scientifically impossible to get a DNA test done on a child that is yet to be born. I am not quite sure the scientific community agrees with that, but Mr. Mason is the one in court here, so we will let him talk his talk.
I'm listening to your case because I want to understand why you don't believe the results. So I ordered a new paternity test just for you. So you believe that the mother was swabbed and it's impossible to tell the DNA or the paternity of an unborn child?
Yes, sir.
What other reason do you have?
Every time I held Ace, it's like all he did was just cry.
Mr. Mason says when he looks at Ace, he does not see himself, and there is no connection with him. That may be true, but it is certainly not evidence that Ace is not his child. Some kids don't even look like either parent. Now, Mr. Mason thinks that the child belongs to Miss Malone's fiancé, Mr. Haynes.
Mr. Haynes is Ace's biological father?
Yes, Your Honor, I believe Mr. Haynes is the father.
Why?
Because when I'm over there visiting my other kids with Miss Malone, she'll
feels like
she'll
that
have
they got a bond.
Ace will be crying and first person she'll give them to is Mr. Haynes. She'll be like, go to your daddy. If I was Ace's father.
So a lot is going on here. Ms. Malone does not treat Mr. Mason as her son's father, but she insists that this is because Mr. Mason does not want to be the father of the child. Well, that is one argument the results of a DNA test can clear up quickly. Mr. Malone says there is no chance that Mr. Hines is Ace's father because she met him after she was pregnant, but Mr. Mason does not believe that.
You didn't even know her when she was pregnant?
No.
Never known anything about each other.
So you don't believe that to be true, Mr. Mason?
No, ma'am. I feel like...
Why don't you believe it?
Because if that was the case, Your Honor, when I was in the hospital when she gave birth to Ace, she had put my name on the birth certificate.
However, Ms. Malone claims that Mr. Mason was never on the real birth certificate, and that the certificate Mr. Mason presented is a dud since it's not an official one. She says that nobody signed to be Ace's father on his actual birth certificate, and the boy legally has no father. But here is the thing. If Ms. Malone was so sure that Mr. Mason was the real father, why didn't she put his name on the certificate?
Put somebody else's name
he wasn't
in that...
acting like one. Mr. Haynes acted like more of a father than Mr. Mason did. He was there.
So you're saying it was a statement that this is the man that's acting like Ace's real father?
Yes, ma'am. And he act like he didn't want it. Be on the birth certificate, so...
Mr. Mason says he has never been given the chance to be a father to Ace, but Ms. Malone and Mr. Haynes disagree.
Lately gave me the chance at all.
Hold on, technically, she has gave him the chance. He never picked up Ace whenever he came over.
Whenever he came over, it was always about my 2-year-old.
Ever since she's been with Mr. Haynes, it's always just been about her and Mr. Haynes.
Well, that kind of sounds like the truth. Mr. Mason's reasons for thinking the child is not his simply do not add up. The fact that she claims she did a DNA test for the child in the womb and he refused the results is another large red flag. If she really did the test, then this case has been solved a long while ago. However, Mr. Mason has one more reason for believing Ace is not his.
Even when we was in the hospital before Ace was even born, she was sending ultrasound pictures to another person.
I do not recall that.
You were sending pictures to another person.
I do not recall that.
And this is before Ace was born or after?
It was before.
Ms. Malone completely denies doing this, but Mr. Mason insists it's the truth. Well, it is time to see who the father is by checking out the DNA test.
Mr. Mason, you are the father. Again.
That's your son. You need to just start taking care of your son.
And
start bonding with your son.
The same way I do with the other two.
Okay.
The same way I do with
and
the
I
other
hold
two.
You to that.
That means my name's got to go on that birth certificate and his name's coming off tomorrow.
No problem.
Ms. Hoddle says that she broke up with Mr. Andrews just 3 months ago and is now petitioning the court to prove that he's the father of her child, Amarella. Mr. Andrews, on the other hand, says that Ms. Hoddle is a serious cheater and he is sure that he isn't the father. But it turns out that Mr. Andrews might be the serial cheater here.
He pregnated another female while he was living with me. So I moved to Kansas and got away from him. We then started our relationship back, and I had planned on having another child with him. So I did get pregnant. Amarella came, and I think the doubts came because she looks different than our other child.
They have another child together, and Mr. Andrews refers to that child as his, but doesn't call Amarella his child. And Mr. Andrews has a bunch of reasons for doing this. In fact, he has a whole chart. That's right, our man means business.
This got to be his baby.
What did you read in them?
I let you have it anytime. And now you chicken, you're scared to come over.
Miss Hadel, is that what these text messages said?
I can't tell you word for word. It was
I know
sexual.
word for word.
I bet he does know word for word, but I don't, so I'm not going to disagree, but anyhow.
Was this a man you've been intimate with?
Oh, so now we are getting somewhere. Mr. Hoddle did in fact cheat on Mr. Andrews. Let's move on to the next piece of evidence.
You jumped out of the window at 3 a.m.
Correct.
Who jumped out the window?
She did.
I was trying to get free from him.
But see, the whole
He's
thing
crazy.
is, she leave the house every time. It's always when a private car come, or it's after 3 a.m. That's the only time he able to get away from his wife, so-called.
What?
That's it.
Wait a minute. So she gets a private call.
Right.
Then she leaves the house.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Ms. Hoddle says the reason why she jumped out the window was because Mr. Andrews was barricading her front door. You might ask where she was going at 3 a.m., and the answer would shock you.
I couldn't walk out my front door because he was barricading my front door.
Where were you going?
I was going to find comfort.
Guess she told you?
I already knew this.
So you got a smile on your face, but you're in paternity court.
I am. I would like for him to get this during the time that Amarella was conceived.
But hold on a minute, Ms. Hoddle. How are you a good woman and still flying out the window at 3 a.m. to find comfort?
On the phone with men, getting text messages, going out, finding comfort, flying out the window at 3 a.m.
This was after 7.5 years. Like, this stuff built up. It was more or less, you're doing this to me, I'm gonna do it back to you.
Listen, you all have been together on and off for 8 years.
However, Mr. Andrews isn't innocent either. During those 11 years, he's had 3 other kids outside the relationship. Not 1, not 2, but 3. But we aren't done with the reasons Mr. Andrews listed.
Found a condom
so
in the car.
I was using protection and it ain't no one else.
Do that, But she know I'm the one who take my daughter to daycare every morning. I'm the one get the dress, take daycare every morning. Little dirty people couldn't even take the condom and throw it away.
If you found a condom in the car.
So wait.
I showed you.
It was a dirty condom?
It was a dirty condom. It wasn't just a
I don't agree with that because I didn't see it. He didn't show me nothing.
Well, I'm sure that makes a world of difference, right? And then we've got the last reason.
4 months ago, Ms. Hadel told me about 2 other potential fathers.
Correct.
Really?
And out of spite, she just go to run in her mouth, and when she get mad, she'll tell on herself.
He's full of it. But I apologize, Your Honor.
She told me 2 other men was daddy.
His mouth,
which
from the time I wake up in the morning till the time I go to sleep, does not stop, and all he does all damn day is talk.
Ms. Hoddle better hope that Mr. Andrews is the father of Amarella, because she's going to have to get used to finding that comfort. Ms. Hoddle says that Mr. Andrews was just listing off the names of men she had an affair with as the father of Amarella, and she just agreed with him because that was what he wanted to hear.
There is no potential. He's the only one. As I stated, May 2014, when I got with him again, as in let's work it out, we were planning to have a child because I wanted a boy. So why would I sleep around with other people if I'm in love with him and I'm trying to make it work?
No, you wasn't. You were in love with the other guy.
Okay.
Ms. Hoddle and Mr. Andrews continue arguing, and even Judge Lake gets tired of it.
I know one thing. You all sound like you're like 16 years old.
Trust me, I know.
Arguing back and forth, and you got these little beautiful children. Beautiful. And from what I'm saying, I don't even know how you have time to make babies because you don't stop talking. If you're doing this in here, I can only imagine what you're doing at home.
That's why he's not in my home no more.
That's why I left the home.
No, he would not leave.
It ain't just your home. It was mine too, fool.
And it somehow gets even worse. You could think Ms. Hoddle is a horrible person for cheating that many times, but Mr. Andrews is also quite the cheater as well.
So 8 months pregnant, I find out there's another female pregnant in the same town that we're living in. I'm about to give birth a month later. He was there, got to see this first child born out of whatever 6 or 7 children that he does have. This is the first child that he got to see born. So that was very special for him and me as well, having him there. He was there the whole pregnancy, An
affair while she was pregnant, and Mr. Andrews is serious about this.
Repeat that testimony.
I was getting text messages from guys.
You were?
She was.
Were you or was she?
She.
So you were looking at her phone and she was getting text messages from guys?
Yes, you are.
Saying what?
Where you at? Can I see you? The sexual things.
All this while she's pregnant?
Yep.
This is just too much. At this point, you kind of wish none of them were Amarella's parents because this is such a toxic union. Let's see what the DNA test results have to say about all of this.
Mr. Andrews, you are the father. You have tears in your eyes. How do you feel in this moment?
I love her regardless. It's my daughter, so it didn't make me no difference if I was or wasn't. I just wanted to prove.
Oh, it didn't?
Yes, it did.
I'm tired of you talking in circles, Mr. Andrews.
Ms. Kiles is in court today to prove that Ms. Light's deceased son, James, is the father of her 14-month-old daughter, Eva. She says she knows that Ms. Lights is in pain due to the loss of her son, but says she is also in pain because her daughter has no link to his paternal family yet. Ms. Light, on the other hand, says that Ms. Kiles is a pathological liar, and as much as she would want a part of her son to remain, she does not trust that Ms. Kiles is telling the truth.
Miss Light isn't the only one that's hurt. I'm hurt too. That's my child's father. She wasn't a mistake. We planned her, and me and him was together. That was my boyfriend, and I loved him. He loved me, and he loved his daughter. We were his family, so I understand she's hurting. That's her son, but me and Ava are hurting too.
That is touching, but Ms. Lights does not believe a word out of Ms. Kiles' mouth. She says she loves Ava and has formed a bond with the child. She says her son was raising Ava, and if she wasn't with James, baby Ava was with her. But there is just one tiny little itty-bitty thing.
But the doubt is still eating away at you.
It's killing me. It was just a lot going on. He came to me so many times. Her, after he moved her to Oklahoma and got everything furnished, another man answered the phone and tried to claim to be Ava's father and be in her life now and all this other stuff.
That's why.
Oh, that is a lot. There has got to be something there. If another man is claiming the child even before she is born, you know there is trouble brewing. But Ms. Kiles insists that nothing like this ever happened. She is quite certain of this, actually.
Me and James never had any fights or arguments about any females, any males. I was hormonal. I was going through a lot. I was stressful. Our arguments never been about other people in our relationship.
And so why would he make this up with his mother? I mean, what motive would he have to?
Because he was mad because I wasn't letting him around me when I was pregnant with her.
So Ms. Kiles argues that James just made all of this up because she did not want to deal with him. That is a brave argument to make, especially if there is a chance that this child might belong to someone else. According to Ms. Light, Ms. Kiles kicked James out of her home when she got pregnant, which is sort of a weird thing to do to someone who is going to be your baby's daddy, right? But Ms. Kiles disagrees.
He got mad because I don't like everybody in my house. He brought some other guy with him to my house. I told him I don't want anybody in my house. My child is, I'm irritated right now, and I have my 2-year-old here. I don't want anybody in my house. He furnished the house. He can bring whoever he wanted here. I said, no, you can't. This is still my house. My name is on the lease.
So Ms. Kiles claims that all the arguments she had with James were domestic and not really about any other man or woman getting in between them. Ms. Kiles then says that she did not call James for the birth of his child for the same reason, while Ms. Light insists that James would have wanted to be there. Ms. Light takes this as another indication that James did not believe the baby was his, while Ms. Kiles says he was absent because she didn't want him there. And then she drops this bombshell.
I decided to give Ava away to a family member, and she named Ava Skylar.
Why are we calling her Ava?
Because that's the name that me and James wanted to name her.
Okay.
She took her back to Chicago. A week later, I wanted my baby back. She didn't want to give her to me, so I had to call my mother to get her back.
And as you may expect, this sounds very, very suspicious to Ms. Light.
Not knowing his baby's biological name. Because my son had tatted on his face, Ava Jashay. My son would have told me something. My son would have got the baby's name changed if he had known.
We couldn't get her name changed because we were living in Oklahoma. They said we had to wait till she turned 1 year old to get her name changed. He died in May. Her birthday was in August.
This is very hard for Ms. Light to handle. The only way to get to the bottom of this is to figure out what the DNA test has for us and be thankful Judge Lake here has the results.
The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Light and Skylar Ava is 99%. You are related.
Oh, thank you. We can do what we gotta do and get her name.
I'm very happy I could deliver this result today.
Thank you.
Ms. McIntyre is in court today, with her mom claiming that Mr. Wilson here catfished her and is now denying being the father of her 3-year-old son, Jayshawn. She says the only reason he has doubts is because he wants to live a single life. However, Mr. Wilson says that he has more evidence than the court has ever seen proving that Ms. McIntyre cheated on him numerous times, so he isn't her baby's father. First, let's talk a bit about this catfishing business.
You are not her son's father, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. McIntyre, how did this relationship begin?
We was talking on Facebook. He shared a couple of pictures with me. He shared a picture like this. I thought he was very cute. He said he was gonna take care of me and my daughter.
On Facebook, he was already gonna take care of you and your daughter?
Yeah, he sold me a dream.
If someone who's never seen you before starts making incredible promises on Facebook, you should probably avoid them. But Ms. McIntyre fell for Mr. Wilson's lies. And on the day she was eventually supposed to meet him, she found something else out.
So we finally wanted to meet up, and when he got off the bus, I seen this. He catfished me. I didn't know, I didn't expect this, no. I did not expect this getting off the bus, no. I wanted him to go back. I did not expect this at all. No, I did not.
Bring up that other picture.
From this picture to this picture, no, I did not, no.
Well, no buyer's remorse here, Ms. McIntyre. That's part of the risks of flirting on the internet. Now, despite Ms. McIntyre not getting the package she ordered, she still got into bed with Mr. Wilson. So she wasn't that disappointed with what he was bringing to the table. Anyway, Mr. Wilson says he has absolutely no need to catfish anyone.
Did you try to catfish her, Mr. Wilson?
No. Lies. All the way around. I'm sexy. Why I need to catfish somebody?
Right.
Is you serious? Okay, lies.
Really?
Really. You saw what you saw. You felt to go with what you wanted to see, okay?
Oh my goodness.
And then, bam, you found yourself in paternity court. That's just how it happens. Mr. Wilson says he isn't here to deny his baby, but he says he cannot trust McIntyre because she sleeps around so much. Ms. McIntyre says she's beyond certain he is, and here's her reason.
Ms. McIntyre, how certain are you that Mr. Wilson is Jayshawn's father?
100% sure. Why would I want to claim him as my baby dad?
So wait, I need to understand, what in the world were you all doing? I mean, you meet on Facebook, you all get together. Did you decide to be girlfriend and boyfriend?
Let's skip to this evidence that Mr. Wilson says he has about Ms. McIntyre cheating. First, he says that Ms. McIntyre only called him to the hospital after she gave birth and that he wasn't there for the birth. Ms. McIntyre also didn't put his name on the birth certificate and didn't give Jayshawn Mr. Wilson's last name either.
Supposedly, I got texts that somebody that I personally knew face to face was messing around with Ms. McIntyre around the same time I was messing around with Ms. McIntyre.
So do you have that proof here?
Okay, then, hold on, not only that.
Proof here? No.
Not only that, though. My thing is this, not only that, I have called Ms. McIntyre in her phone.
Those are strong allegations. Mr. Wilson says he asked Ms. McIntyre if all of this was true, and she denied all of it. Then later she came around and said that she was offering those favors because she needed money. And that's when Mr. Wilson started super cheating.
I went hard for I put myself in bad situations for this girl right here. You feel me? So yeah, I was hurt. So I went out there, I was super cheating. You know what I'm saying? I served
super cheating. When you come back,
I was super cheating.
With every transies, right?
I was super cheating. Me?
Huh? You come back with two transies, right?
Super sleep. I was cheating with everybody.
Well, at least Mr. Wilson here is being honest. Anyway, Ms. McIntyre wants us to know that Mr. Wilson was doing it to anyone and everyone willing to lie down.
And anybody, to be honest with you, I'm gonna be real with you. Because at the point, I'm like, all right, this relationship ain't not going
nowhere. Because super cheating.
Yeah, super. I'm gonna say super cheating.
It's elevated.
Yeah, I'm being honest with you. That was.
So you were just sleeping with anybody.
And everybody.
That's scary.
Anybody, boys, girls, whatever, transies, all that.
As long as you're happy, Mr. Wilson. As long as you're happy. But Mr. Wilson has even more evidence of impropriety from Ms. McIntyre.
Ms. McIntyre left me for like 4 or 5 months. She went MIA, unseen, unnoticed. Ms. McIntyre was nowhere to be found, so what I'm supposed to do?
What do you mean she was nowhere to be found?
When I say nowhere to be found, I mean...
I
tried to reach her. I tried to contact her.
I left because
I got no research, none of that.
That's the reason why I left him for the 4th. Yes, I did. I don't want to be bothered with that.
And yes, we finally got to the evidence that Mr. Wilson says he has. And that evidence is a board, a calendar, and stickers of ghosts. He's using those stickers to show us the months that Ms. McIntyre was missing in action. For some weird reason, this is supposed to prove that Jayshawn isn't his baby.
That's June. That's another time.
So like, the ghost means she's missing in action.
Missing in action. Nowhere to be found.
Yeah. Nowhere to be found.
None of that.
Can't see her.
Can't see her.
Where were you staying?
I done moved on.
Where were you staying?
Found somebody else to be with.
Your ghost fell again.
His
ghost is falling, Your Honor, and one is upside down. Let me tell you something about it.
Okay, Mr. Wilson, that was spectacular. It made no sense, but it was spectacular. But let's see him make his point.
So, Jayshawn was born in October. Green, it says Ms. McIntyre conceives the baby. But you said when you first stepped up to your exhibit that you didn't think that you all really started having sex until after your birthday.
After my birthday, because we were still filling each other out. You know what I'm saying? We didn't know if we was going to be with each other, we was just going to play around.
So you're saying if she's pregnant with your child, where in the world is she for 4 full months?
Well, I think we've seen enough. It's time to know for sure who's the father of Jayshawn. Is it Mr. Wilson here? Or has Ms. McIntyre been lying to us the whole time?
Mr. Wilson, you are his father.
Told you. Told
That's
you.
all I needed to know.
So you ought to be ashamed.
That's all I needed to know.
You ought to be ashamed.
I needed to know that. That's my
Mr.
thing.
Charisma.
I needed to know that.
Hold on. We starting off wrong. Friend.
Yes.
So somehow you get into a relationship with Miss Jackson's son.
Yes. Like we wasn't in a relationship. We were just messing around.
Okay.
Me and her son was messing around
And
every
you had
day. Every day. Unprotected sex every day.
So they might have not been dating and all, but they were completely in each other's hair. However, it got revealed that after breaking up with the alleged father, the defendant chose to mess around with another guy, who was her first pick as daddy.
At the time your child was conceived, having sex with any other man. Okay, so Miss Jackson's son and
the boy who I was going with after him.
After him.
Yes.
And you thought he was the father at first.
Yes, sir.
The guy that was after Miss Jackson's son.
Yes.
Did you get a DNA test with him?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, seems like Markel changed her mind. But the question was, what brought such a change of heart? In baby mama's defense, it was Miss Jackson's son who kept pushing that he was the father. Did the plaintiff know about this?
Your Honor, I will agree.
So you think they look alike?
Yes, they do.
Your
They
Honor.
look just alike. That's her
My son
twin.
look like Sonia.
And no, he
Yes,
don't.
come
He
on.
don't
My son
look like
look
me.
like her than he does
She
me.
said her son look like me.
Yes.
No.
Can you stand up and turn to the court?
No.
That looked more like her.
Clearly, all of this wasn't convincing enough for the Grahams, for her child looked like her mommy and her family. Nonetheless, he kept mentioning that mommy had accepted the child. So when the judge implored the plaintiff for this, Miss Jackson went on like this.
Established a relationship with this child. We got text messages that will even sit up here and say, I've never established a relationship. That child been to my house 3 times. If that's the case, Your Honor,
listen, we can either get this resolved or y'all can go on back home and act a fool in the street, because you're not going to act it up in here.
Judge has a point. Acting like streets weren't going to help anyone. To find the truth, they had behaved civilly. That's why the judge asked Jerome to stand between both stands. So it was established that plaintiff had made no effort whatsoever to warm up for the child.
You're saying you didn't establish a relationship because you never truly believed this was your son's child, but the child has been to your house on several occasions.
3 occasions because my son wants to get her. There's no relationship, and she.
So you do acknowledge through your doubt. If your son says, Mama, I'm going to pick up my little girl.
Nicoli further added that the scheming mother had even gone to the length of faking a pregnancy to nail her son as her man. Wow, an acquisition, isn't it? But the plaintiff kept pressing that. The not-so-real babies were twins, because the mother of real grandchilder was pregnant with twins.
I was faking a pregnancy, found out Aaliyah was, come to find out that's a lie because her mother told me it was a lie. She acted like she was in the hospital when she really wasn't, Your Honor, and she gave me a little number and it went to a cell phone. What hospital have a voicemail?
You're saying she lied about a second pregnancy?
Yes.
Grim of jealousy is the reason that, but who would put their own child's future in jeopardy? I find that hard to buy anyway. Let's watch what happened next.
Because I told your son that I lied.
Yes, we found out because we called the hospital.
No.
And there was no such
Why did you lie?
Yes, I did lie because I was kind of hurt. I was hurt because at the time.
So you did it to get back at him?
Yes.
To understand why your credibility is about shot.
I know. So
okay, that's what I just want you to understand.
Yes.
Why another woman, another person, or a judge might not believe what you're saying.
Okay, now even I think that baby mama is just making the whole thing up. And the judge was mixed too. That's why the lake called Miss Pickens' mother, who also stood firm on the defendant's testimony. She even went to the length of accusing the grandma at the opposite podium.
Hair, eyes, she does look like this little boy done lived with me for about a month because his mother put him out.
Exactly. When he
didn't have nowhere to go. But I had a picture of Kevin, her, his little brother, and his dad.
Miss Dates even told the court how she herself confronted her daughter to make sure she wasn't pinning the child on the wrong guy. But Markel assured her mother that another possibility was not the father. That's why Sonia was standing in the courtroom defending her Miss Pickens.
And because she didn't have no features of this other guy. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Then when she told me, she never said Kevin. She said somebody else. Didn't happen. So Kevin came around, and that's when I started seeing her features. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, she do. She got
so you went
like
off of the fact that you felt like they resemble. Okay.
The judge had listened to both sides with patience and had reminded them that this trial wasn't about them, but rather about the child. The good thing was that Miss Jackson came forward and claimed to take care of the child if DNA proved relatedness. Let's see if she keeps up her words.
Baby, Shaziah Pickens, Mrs. Jackson, you are not her grandmother.
Got you.
Yes! Hold on.
Thank you, God. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Honest and straightforward, Mr. Buchanan was already duped twice in a paternity trap by 2 of his ex-girlfriends. Learning the truth the hard way, the baby daddy refuses to fall for the same thing again. Let's see if the 3rd time is the charm or not.
DNA testing proved you were not the father, and you now doubt your girlfriend, Miss Stembridge's 6-month-old daughter, is yours. You state she is engaged in sexual affairs outside of the relationship, including with your former friend and roommate.
Yes, Your Honor. So the judge started with the doubt part, apparently. Newburn was sure that his girlfriend was floozy, and he even claimed that she had slept with one of his friends, and he found the bitter truth like this.
Jail under false pretenses, they had the wrong person, and while we was in the car, he had bought some food, and I said, I was eating it, and he was like, why are you eating all my food? And I'm like, I don't care, so I threw it in the back seat at him, and he's like, I'm your girl while you're locked up.
Wait, I know it's a direct quote, but we gotta watch our language in the court.
Well, there goes the "I slept with your girl" comment rubbed in his face really hard. Prior to this information, Miss Stembridge herself had confessed about having a drink with her baby daddy's friend Cause. She was lonely with Mr. Buchanan being locked up.
All right, you don't drink. I don't care if it's a supermodel. You ain't drinking with somebody that's supposed to be my best friend. You had the right to say no, all right? If
So
it's
you
peer pressure,
blaming Miss Stembridge or you blaming your best friend?
I'm blaming her because she knew better. She knew better. He was single. I don't blame him for nothing. Single man do whatever he want.
You should have let me get you out of
She's
jail.
with somebody. She's with somebody.
Wow, isn't that little too much? You would just only blame your girlfriend like that. I know that's weird, but hold as there is more coming. And it got 2 words. Lehman drops. Well, it was the tonic to get the baby mama in the mood. And once he saw that, he went bananas.
Played out, hey, bro, I ain't talking about no candy. I ain't talking about no candy. Look, she already knows. Look, I ain't talking about no candy.
There was 2 shot glasses laying on the table.
When you walked in and you saw the drinks out, in your mind you thought she's drinking with him again, and she said that was only a one-time thing.
Okay, told me about beer. So when you bear,
Baby mama claims that she got nothing to hide and she had been honest all the time with her man. However, after that, things just got worse between them as even his ex-girlfriend tried to warn him that this best friend was stabbing him in his back by sleeping with his woman. That's why the judge called her in to testify.
What exactly did you witness?
Did I witness when I walked in? When I walked in, all I saw was in the air.
Okay, let's use better language in the court. Let's use better language in the court. You walked in and saw what?
Booty in the air.
At the head of his bed. Reflection out mirror.
Look, better come up and show me.
Oh, woman is just a human hurricane. You saw how she entered with a bang. That is clear animosity there. While she was testifying, Miss McNeil used all sorts of non-court lang, which infuriated the baby mama. Both women showed no sympathy for each other, even though there was a baby involved in the mix.
This is the door to Eric's room. I walked in, standing right there.
Nope, that's a lie, Your Honor. Because I would have seen her. I ain't never seen this girl in my life.
You ain't never seen me in your life?
No, not other
That's
than
a lie.
pictures in his
Look,
phone.
look.
Pictures in his phone.
Yeah, in his phone.
See, that's wrong.
Whatever the whiteness was proposing, the defendant begged to the lemon again.
I come in, her head closet, and booty in the air. Bottle, counter, I took a shot myself. That was that's right.
While you were at it.
That's right.
Hey, what was you drinking?
Ain't never had one.
No.
Ain't never had one, but they good. They're good. I drink them now.
Okay, for me, it's just mindless to and fro. Anyway, the baby mama stood firm that the plaintiff and his ex-girlfriend were just making things up, and that Mr. Buchanan was the father of her baby girl.
Wow.
I've never known Heather to never come over to Eric's house and not come in his bedroom.
That's right.
Every time when I was staying there, she's always came in his bedroom.
To show up at Eric's house. Ask him.
did.
I won't call. Yeah, I
did,
showed
though.
up one time and she was there. They wouldn't open the door. That's why she claimed she ain't never seen me.
Closed.
And
The
then she
front
came.
door. They wouldn't let me in the house because you was in there.
Though the Mr. Check This Out loved his little girl and wanted to be the biological father, even Mommy claimed that he was a great father, and that if it was up to her, she wouldn't pick anyone else to father her beautiful baby girl, which we know most rightfully calls for the envelope.
Mr. Buchanan, you are her father.
Thank you.
That's a blessing.
Thank you.
They ran out of lemon or you already...
Thank you. Thank you.
It's obvious that you're happy.
The same rodeo was up and running in this case as Mr. Scott appeared in Judge Lake's court to seek her help to uphold his reputation. He claimed that multiple women tried to pin their on him, and DNA results would prove that Miss Crane was also one of those scammers.
You state many women, including the defendant, have dragged your reputation through the mud, claiming you are the father of their children.
Yes, sir.
You admit to having 6 kids by 3 different women,
Yes, Your Honor.
but state that the defendant is not mother number 4 with child number 7.
Yes.
Okay.
However, the baby mama has her own set of allegations lined up. She claimed that the potential father was nothing more than a fraud who trapped her into having his baby while he was married to someone else.
You found out he was a married man.
She's been
Yes,
she's
Your
been
Honor.
cheating the whole time.
Never. Miss Crane, you insist that Mr. Scott has never even offered you a dime.
Never.
Since your son was born. You're here to make a counterclaim against Mr. Scott in the amount of $5,000, the maximum allowed by this court.
It was revealed that both parties had their deceiving hats on, yet no one was willing to back off. The defendant spilled the beans of truth and claimed that Mr. Scott had been married for 9 years, but the plaintiff put on his armor like this.
Dealing with each other.
Yes.
means a
We was together.
relationship.
We was together. We was together. We was together. 'cause we
In a
still spending the
committed
night.
relationship?
In a committed relationship.
But he was married. He just said you were in a committed relationship.
Yes, we was committed.
And you just said, Ms. Crane, that he was married.
Major negative. I've been major negative. I've been divorced since December 9th, 2009.
I didn't know
She
about
knew I
none
had
of the
kids though.
Enlighten me.
She knew I had kids.
Enlighten me. How did you?
So the woman said that when she confronted the man, she and his wife spat on the call. His spouse told her to get the baby aborted. Oh my. Why do people stoop so low?
The woman's house, and he actually picked up the phone. So the lady was like, well, who is this calling from Marcel? I said, well, I'm his baby mama, his girlfriend. He's like, well, how was that when I'm married for 9 years with him and he's right here? So Marcel hopped on the phone and cussed me out for calling. Then the lady was like, well, this is my husband, so she told me to get an abortion. So he was like, no, that's my son, and I'm never gonna have her give an abortion.
It seemed Mr. Scott was caught up in his web of lies. Still, he managed to wipe Ms. Crane's accusations and alleged that she brought his ex-wife's cousin into the picture. His doubts were on point.
All of his kids, I didn't know he had no kids.
She lied because I got tattoos all over my body. I got all my kids' names on my neck, on my back.
That don't mean nothing.
Everywhere.
I didn't ask him nothing about no tattoos.
No, well, you want to talk about tattoos? What about the dude's name tattooed on your body?
What
that
about
you said it was your brother's.
And?
But then come to find it's another dude that's holding the baby. You know what I mean?
Your Honor, we were not together. Okay, wait a minute now. Mr. Scott has some info I need to delve into.
I'm not on the birth certificate.
You say...
Wow. First messing around, then dating his ex-wife's cousin. Up next, it slipped that Mommy was the perpetrator behind all the doubts, as her sex life had been giving him the red flag like this.
She sees my ex-wife. They said, that's what they told me, that she put the cover over the baby's head so nobody could see the baby. And they asked, is that Marcel's baby? She said, nah. And then so she had to explain.
No, Your Honor.
She had to explain to the dude. Let me talk.
The sister was telling me that wasn't his baby, so I covered my son up.
What you're trying to tell me is that's one of the things that created doubt in your mind, because
it created doubt in my mind, period.
When she covered the baby up.
Oh my. Ms. Crane disclosed that the bombshell dropped on her at the clinic when she found out the man impregnated her and his ex-wife at the same time. But the dad did not let the mom play and started squabbling with her.
And at the doctor's appointment, I seen his wife, and she was pregnant at the same time.
Yeah, they was.
Oh, wait. I thought you were divorced in 2009.
Yeah, but we were separated, though. We were separated.
We've
been divorced, but we were separated.
And then he said wait a minute.
Me and her wasn't
you
together.
were divorced?
Yeah, we got divorced, but then we still messed around from time to time.
So you got her pregnant?
During their back and forth bickering, it slipped that the defendant changed her mind and told Mr. Scott that he was not the father of her son and did not even put his name on the birth certificate. So you know you can't unring the bell you rang before.
One day I'm the father, one day I'm not. I ain't been in my son's life in 3 years. Wanna know why?
Because of him.
It's inconsistency.
No.
She won't let me be there.
Okay. Do you understand, at least on this level, why he would have doubt? As you were saying to him, like, he is the father or he's not the father, or maybe you were angry with him and then you go say.
Finally, Judge Lauren summoned witnesses to square things off. But instead, she entered shouting to her vocal cords in her rage, like he was a bonehead to her. Uh-oh. Seemed like Mr. Scott got to have huge trouble.
The caliber of a woman would say that.
What kind of woman will get pregnant by dad beat dad?
Your Honor, he is a snake. He is doing the same thing to me with my daughter.
All right,
you know, don't even play on you.
It's your kid. Let's get some order. Have a seat.
Don't go there.
You are a deadbeat for real. This gotta be what you did, baby mama.
All right.
Oh my God.
However, it was evident that a new problem had been raised for the mister, and probably he would have to come again, as Ms. Colloon claimed him as the father of her daughter as well and was demanding a DNA test.
Could you please state your name for the court?
My name is Crystal Kalan.
And Ms. Kalan, can you please tell the court what it is you have to add to this?
Oh, he's my daughter's father too. My daughter's 4 months old.
That's your 10th kid, right?
4 months old.
Man, do the math, man.
10 kids.
Our kids look just alike.
So you claim you also have a child by him, and he's denying paternity?
He wants paternity test. I have it.
Yes.
Nevertheless, it was clear that the witness's testimony flared up the situation as she brought another case for Judge Lauren. And things were to and fro swinging in between, so it was the time to pop up this paternity issue.
Mr. Scott, you are the father.
Told you!
You seem happy.
Oh, yeah, I'm very happy.
And I'm glad.
I'm very happy.
And now your doubts?
Can I apologize to her? I
You
apologize
okay,
to
Ms.
you
Crane?
for my assumptions.
Pretty wild ride when a wife has to convince her husband that he really is the father of their child. Miss Vaughn has the intention to prove to Mr. Williams that their baby boy Connor belongs to them and not someone from her past.
Mr. Williams, you say you got married under false pretenses and claim Miss Vaughn only used you for your money. You also believe Miss Vaughn has a secret sugar daddy and had that man throughout your entire relationship, and he's the real father.
Yes, Your Honor. So, what's the beef between these two? Ever since Connor's birth, Mr. Williams hasn't done anything to show that he's the baby's father. He bought him diapers and an outfit when he was a newborn. But after that, he's been pretty useless.
One, you can't put a price on how much a man can support his child.
Yes, you can.
No, you
Pregnant
cannot.
Every day.
Mr. Williams, you saying you have supported this child?
Yes, of course.
He's one, but you're also saying now, I've supported him, but he's not mine.
Yes, I did, because
Get
it
it
was
straight.
based on a love and a belief that I was being married to Miss Vaughn.
Mr. Williams was going around on campus, airing the dirty laundry of his love life by telling everyone that Miss Vaughn was promiscuous, a gold digger, and a backstabber. Mr. Williams had doubts from the day he married her that the child she was carrying belonged to her sugar daddy.
His father and I requested to meet her. We actually went to her house. And after having the discussion with her and she shared with us, then the next step was for them to get married because her grandchild, she never said their child, that she was the one driving the bus on this relationship. And along the way, I've tried to realize who's been pregnant, who got pregnant by Brian.
Once the whole pregnancy started, Miss Vaughn realized that she couldn't go on with life without facing the consequences. And now there was a baby on the way, so she had to fully embrace her role as a mother. Yet Mr. Williams isn't convinced that he's the father.
There is a question as it relates to his paternity. And it's affecting his life because he's one, and the man that you say is his biological father is saying, I don't believe I am. And you know what? At one, a baby recognizes their father.
Miss Vaughn feels confused that Mr. Williams was initially involved with parenting baby Connor, but then he backed off out of nowhere. He would babysit Connor, but the entire time he would be playing games on his electronics and not really taking care of the baby. That's pretty irresponsible.
In Mr. Williams' court papers, he alludes to the fact that he thinks you have a sugar daddy. What is this all about?
He is one of my childhood friends, and when I called and told him that Brian was not taking care of his responsibilities, when I was short on a couple of things and I couldn't call and ask Brian for it, he made sure he was there for it.
It seems that Mr. Williams really doesn't know what he's saying. When Miss Vaughn's friend called him and asked him to babysit the baby properly, Mr. Williams felt humiliated. Why was a strange man involved in his affairs? And how did he even get his number in the first place?
Did you confront Miss Vaughn and say, what are these messages and who is this person?
I've tried to contact her. She started blocking my number when I would ask about, her relationship. When I was coming over to her house, that they're already there, not dressed and claiming that it's just a regular friendship.
Looks like the truth's coming out, and maybe Mr. Williams isn't the evil man he's being portrayed to be. Miss Vaughn denied having relations with her Papa Bear, but then it turns out she was lying. The only way to end this is to read those DNA results once and for all. Baby Connor deserves to know who to call daddy.
Mr. Williams, you are the father.
Pay the lady. Pay the lady. Pay the lady.
Mr. Williams, you are the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are the father. You're gonna have to raise that child together. You're gonna have to help be responsible for him, care for him.
Every once in a while, a man enters a woman's life and completely sweeps her off her feet. But for Miss Taylor, the story was a little different with Mr. Brown. Once they were done with their affair, he left her alone and pregnant. Now she wants him to claim responsibility for the daughter he fathered.
Ms. Taylor, you say Mr. Brown is an older man who swept you off your feet and got you pregnant. You're here today to prove to Mr. Brown that he is the father of your 3-month-old daughter, Melanie Brown.
Yes, Your Honor.
When Judge Lauren asks Miss Taylor what Mr. Brown has done for baby Melanie, she reveals that all he's done is buy her diapers. And they weren't even the good ones. Poor Melanie ended up having diaper rash because of them, and Miss Taylor had to take her to the hospital.
Have you tried at all to get Mr. Brown involved? Have you called him? Have you said, do you want to come by and see the baby?
Yes, Your Honor. Every time I call him, he say, that ain't my baby. You need to go find your baby daddy and stop calling me.
Well, actually, she didn't know that I had a condom on.
He didn't use the condom, Your Honor.
Bottom line is, you say no protection was used. You say you did.
Yes.
How did their story start? They met each other at a club, and according to Miss Taylor, he was the one who made the first move. But Mr. Brown interrupts and says that it was her who was trying to invite herself over to his place so they could do the deed. But the shocking thing is the age difference.
He came up to you in the club?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you how old?
18.
And he was how old?
32.
What?
32, Your Honor.
How old are you, sir?
32.
32. I always say beware the old man in the club.
Hey.
Continue, Miss Taylor.
What threw off Mr. Brown was how Miss Taylor kept asking him if he likes baby. He kept thinking to himself that maybe this strange woman had a baby fever. Who knew she would actually end up pregnant? He even thought that she might have been pregnant way before they met each other.
A father figure or father for her baby.
Because you are the father of my baby. She was already pregnant.
Yes.
I was not, Your Honor.
The first time we used a condom. The second time we...
If I was already pregnant, how come my baby 3 months?
I don't know. I've been trying to figure out. The third time the condom broke.
The condom broke.
Yes.
Judge Lauren asks how did they break the news of pregnancy. Miss Taylor confesses that when she first told Mr. Brown, he straight up said the baby couldn't be his. He said that she had to go find the real baby daddy because it sure wasn't him.
He only came around like 3 times when he wanted to have sex.
Is he in the delivery room with you?
He came after I had the baby and he held the baby. I have a picture of him
We
holding
only
the
had
baby.
sex once when she was pregnant anyway.
I have a picture of him
Let me
holding the
see
baby.
this evidence,
And then
Ron.
he said for 5 minutes, then he said he was going to smoke a cigarette and he never came back, Your Honor.
Because I didn't feel a bond.
That's a pretty lousy excuse to deny a baby because you thought you didn't have a bond with it. Even Judge Lauren reprimands him for running away without even informing Miss Taylor. Could the DNA results help baby Melanie know who her father really is?
Mr. Brown, you are the father.
I told you. Can I have that paper, Your Honor?
Well, now I can hold her again.
That is so sad. That is so sad.
I'll do something now, though.
Sometimes people cheat on you for the craziest of reasons. Mr. Golden went behind his partner's back just because she burned his clothes. But they weren't cheap. The item cost almost $1,000. And today, he's not only suing Miss Campbell, but he's also proving he's Andrea's real father.
So, Mr. Golden, why do you think Miss Campbell is denying that you're Andrea's father?
Because she hate me.
Really? Explain.
She hate me because I slept with her best friend.
You slept with her best friend?
Yes, ma'am. But I did it to get back.
You did? Well,
Yeah.
why would you do that?
I did it to get back out of the spice because she used to do crazy stuff to me.
Once Judge Lauren hears what Mr. Golden has to say, she's pretty shocked to see that these two are even in a relationship. Only insane people would do the things that these two have done. Miss Campbell says that everything was some mind game for Mr. Golden.
Why are you sleeping with her best friend and why are you popping up places? What is going on?
She crazy.
Your Honor, the reason why I burnt his clothes is because he told me he was going to walk to the store, right? But usually it's me and him walking to the store.
Yes.
He's walking with a girl, like close, side by side, close.
It really pissed off Miss Campbell that she caught Mr. Golden red-handed, and he ran away from her. What does Mr. Golden have to say for himself? According to him, he was just out to grab some cigarettes from the store. So, how is it his fault that another girl was walking next to him?
So when he started running, you decided I'm gonna burn his clothes.
Yeah.
So now you're so angry.
It's so angry that I went to his mom's house and went in the closet and got his clothes out and pulled his clothes right there on the ground, picked up a shirt, set it on fire, threw it on top of his clothes, and all it was on.
And so, Mr. Golden, this is the basis of your suit.
Yes, ma'am.
Still, that's not enough reason to burn your partner's clothes. That's one wild thing to do. According to Mr. Golden, the relationship's extremely chaotic. And now, Miss Campbell is trying to get at him by proclaiming that he's not their daughter's father. Talk about insane ways of getting revenge.
Are you trying to get back at him?
I feel like he's not even the father type. If he don't even respect me, why, how can he respect my child?
Did you have sex with him?
Yes.
Without
I did.
protection?
Yes, but it wasn't around the time when my baby was conceived, when she was.
It wasn't. So, Mr. Golden, did she tell you she was pregnant? Or how did you find out?
Her mom.
Her mom told you.
But things take an even messier turn when Miss Campbell says that she felt weak for Mr. Golden and went behind her boyfriend's back to sleep with him. Looks like she couldn't resist those puppy eyes. Mr. Golden says that she didn't have a boyfriend at that time and she's faking the story. They have to bring in her mother as witness.
Miss Jones, you are
Jasmine's mother.
Miss Campbell's mother.
Yes, ma'am.
Standing with Mr. Golden. Interesting. Ma'am, did you know anything about this other boyfriend that she says she had?
No, ma'am, I did not.
You've never seen this guy?
No, ma'am, I did not see him.
Even the mother is on Mr. Golden's side. Is Miss Campbell just pure insane then? When she was pregnant with Andrea, she didn't even let Mr. Golden come to the hospital. She kept telling the nurses and the doctors to keep him away. Why does she hate this man so much?
Do you get mad at people when they say that Mr. Golden is your child's father, Ms. Kim?
No, I get mad at him because he's telling people that he's my child's father.
Why do you believe so strongly that he is, Ms. Jones?
Because he was there, and I know they was having sex. Like I said, they probably still are. I know they were, because I worked overnight till 4 in the morning.
It seems like this is an extremely personal matter for Mr. Golden. He's tried his best to be there for the baby, and it's about time all this drama came to an end. Miss Campbell might not want to be the father, but only the DNA results can tell the truth.
Mr. Golden, you are not the father.
Thank you.
Sir.
It's okay.
Mr. Golden?
Come on.
I'm straight.
You have to go. Come on. I need you. Come on. It's okay. Just have a seat.
Come on back in, Mr. Golden.
What's a paternity court episode if it doesn't feature one meddling mother? Miss Knox is tired of how Mr. Bailey keeps denying being the father of their baby boy Cash, and she believes it's got everything to do with how he's such a mama's boy.
Miss Bailey, you claim your son is a famous dancer and is about to hit it big. Both of you claim Ms. Knox is pinning a baby on your son because she is after his fame and future fortune.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Knox, what has Mr. Bailey done for Cash since he's been born?
I paid for everything. That's because you wanted to.
Miss Bailey keeps firing shots at Miss Knox. She thinks that Miss Knox is after her son because she's a gold digger. At first, she didn't even seem into him, but the moment her son launched his dance career, he started earning big. So Miss Knox pounced on the opportunity.
Do you have receipts?
Yes, I do have
that
receipts
will substantiate
of all the stuff that I had bought for my child. I had to buy wipes, car seats, strollers. I had to buy everything. I haven't seen anything from it, Mr. Bailey.
So these are receipts. They total $6,960.
Yes, ma'am.
But Miss Knox has come prepared, and she's got receipts to prove it. Judge Lawrence straight up asks Mr. Bailey that if he ever tried being involved with the child when he came into this world, and he claims that he wasn't because Miss Knox ended up fleeing to Texas.
So when she left,
I have evidence.
I'd like to see that evidence. What is this evidence, sir?
I have evidence showing that you only got those things to stack up because I said I was going to put you on child support. That's the only reason why you got it. No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I have it too.
Let's get some order.
Judge Lauren has a difficult time understanding why Mr. Bailey has doubts about the paternity. He was there when the pregnancy happened, and he even signed the birth certificate of baby Cash. So, what's the real reason he's having so many doubts? Did Miss Knox go behind his back?
I'm not no phone checking type person. That's not my style, okay? But I just so happened to go through her phone. She was texting me and this little dude just around the same time, telling us it was like the same conversations, right? Like minutes apart, not even, like minutes apart. The last text message said, I'm gonna come give you a hug and a kiss from the other guy. And my text message said, I'm on my way to come get you.
Well, that's a big revelation. What will Miss Knox say to defend herself? Immediately, Miss Bailey interjects and shares her 2 cents. According to her, Miss Knox was already pregnant when she met Mr. Bailey, and now she's laid out a paternity trap for him. This is why they need the truth to come out.
Yana, he does not have a career. I don't know what career you're talking about, but he does not. He was nothing when I met him, and he's nothing now.
Miss Bailey, explain to me why you believe she was pregnant before she even met your son.
Because when we actually did have a conversation, she's gonna say, oh, well, I'm 3 months pregnant. Lies.
Miss Bailey tells Judge Lauren that whenever she went to visit Miss Knox, she would be hiding under the sheets trying to cover up the fact that she was already 5 months pregnant. From day one, she kept telling her son that she doesn't have a good feeling about this girl.
I asked her 3 times, and we haven't seen Cash ever since I brought that up. And then every time we want to see Cash, Edward has to give her something. Oh, well, if you give me a case of diapers, you can see Cash.
Okay.
Yeah, I still don't receive this stuff. The reason why I don't give them to him, because first off, their house is not even properly, it's not even a house.
This seems like to be more of a problem between Miss Knox and Miss Bailey. It's like Mr. Bailey is completely unbothered and doesn't care what the outcome of today's case will be. Before the 2 women can cause any more chaos in the court, Judge Lauren asks Jerome to bring in the results.
Mr. Bailey, you are Cash's father.
That's fine, you're still a crown.
Seem emotionless. How does
That's
it
my
feel?
son. That's my son. I'm gonna move forward with, what I gotta do as a father, and I'm not gonna let her bring me down. I'm gonna just keep doing what I'm doing.